to the graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
More calling Orson. Come in, Orson. More calling Orson. Come in, Orson. More calling Orson. Come in, Orson.
Just tell me what you've learned about Earth.
Oh, I've learned a lot. So much it's hard to comprehend. It seems that everyone on this planet is an individual, and not only that, they're proud of it.
Amazing. If everyone's different, how can a society function?
Not very well. They almost locked me up because they thought my mind was imperfect.
Investigate the phenomenon closely. It's interesting behavior, even if it is irrational.
Got voices in my head. Just get them out sometimes.
This is me, the Explosion. You're listening to Two Strangers on Podcast. Bunch of douchebags.
Hello, this is Sniper Bros. You're listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. You know who else likes Two Strangers One Podcast? My mom!
A bunch of a-holes.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And happy Labor Day to our American listeners and to all the other listeners across the world. Labor Day is a holiday we celebrate in usually it's around September. It's kind of like back to school time for us, our summer. It's like the official end of summer.
Yep.
I think I guess if you're listening to this podcast, you're kind of familiar with American holidays. I
would hope so. I would hope so.
But we apologize for being so late in getting everything, getting episodes put out because, we've both been having stuff going on in our lives. But we have listeners from Taiwan, Ukraine, Germany, Brazil, Poland. I just went on the site real quick. So
yeah, it's kind of interesting because now that the podcast, the Too Not My Faithful podcast is mine, it's interesting to go into Podomatic and see where people are actually listening. A lot of our listeners from the other podcasts are from, obviously the United States. UK, I think, is number 2. So is Canada's in there too, and so is Australia. It's really weird.
Now, Labor Day, of course, with the weather, it's always like the end of summer, so people have barbecues and people go out. But I think one of the big things that everyone likes to do is go to the movies on Labor Day. Let's talk about movies.
Well, if it's raining.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it's raining, so right now I'm on MoviePhone.com because I was like, what the hell movies are coming out recently? The November Man with Pierce Brosnan. I've always liked Pierce Brosnan. I've always thought he was our generation's 007. You know what I'm saying? Or do you consider Daniel Craig?
I consider Pierce Brosnan to be one of the best James Bond out there. I would say that besides him, obviously the other choice would be Daniel Craig because, I think he does. I do think he does a really good job. I also think that maybe Daniel Craig has been given a little bit more leeway to be a more violent James Bond. So,
I think there was a lot of pressure, I think, after the Bourne Ultimatum and Bourne Conspiracy and the Bourne Identity that they were just we have to make Bond more real close-up fight scenes. The older James Bond, I know they goof on it with Austin Powers, but it always was karate chops and, he never really did anything really spectacular. Now they're oh, we need him to do, it's got to be close quarter fighting and it's got to be cut real fast and chops and kicks and jumping out of windows but I always like Pierce Brosnan. I don't know, he has a certain suaveness that I don't know. Like I said, I guess every generation kind of has its own Bond. Okay, we got Sin City Part 2, Dame to Kill For. I've been not hearing good things.
I've been hearing basically the same thing I keep hearing is, and I quote, "It's 7 years too late."
Yeah, what the hell took so long? I know Frank Miller was doing, he did The Spirit, and what was the other, didn't they do another movie that was kind of like a black and white pseudo, not 3D, funky black and white, I don't know, there was The Spirit, and I think he did one more. All right, we'll skip that. Expendables 3, which brought us Wesley Snipes. He's coming back, and then I guess keeping with the nerd news that we always like to talk about on the show, he's going to be the voice of Blade in a cartoon.
That's not bad.
So, we're getting some, from the movie that kind of like, I mean, of course, yeah, we have the 1977 Superman and, and the 1989 Batman, but Blade was kind of like, once again, for our generation, like the first movie to kind of put Marvel back on the map. And so, I don't know, Paul, talk, goddammit.
I'm just listening to what you're saying. Well, I mean, Expendables didn't really do that well. Which is confusing, so I don't know what to say about that. I mean, I don't know, I'm kind of confused by it, to be honest with you. But, to bring up something interesting, The Rock had put out something about, just before the movie came out, like he would like to be in Expendables 4, and he doesn't want to be a good guy, he wants to be the bad guy that's basically just knocking them off one by one by one. I think that's an awesome concept.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's going to do any more after this, though.
Yeah, I think they're
done. I mean, if this one would have done well, then they probably would have considered it, but really, it didn't do well, so I don't know if they're going to do it again,
Yeah. And then, speaking of Kung Fu Chopsaki, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I'm really disappointed because we were going to do this episode with Sketch, and apparently he punked out. He'd rather go on a dinner date than come and sit here and talk.
No, he had to go. He needed to go. Had dinner plans with his family, so.
I got dinner plans with my family. I can't sit around and talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, you know what? This is a challenge. I'm gonna have to have him on next week.
Oh, I'm definitely challenging. Sketch, where are you? You too scared to come on the podcast?
Oh, I want to put this up on Twitter right now.
Well, I mean, okay, so you had gotten me in to see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You got me a free pass, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much, because I was having a very bad day that day. And I went to go see it, and I was surprisingly, it wasn't bad. It was pretty decent for a movie that, I was expecting it to be, Transformers 5. I was expecting it to be horrible, and I thought I'd be rolling my eyes. But, I mean, once you get past the fact that it was like a horrible, botched origin story, they really, really trying to make it like everybody's fates are intertwined, and, and I'm not really, I don't want to spoil it too much, but, like April's father helped create the Ninja Turtles, and then, now they're there, and then, this one guy just happens to, the one guy that works with April's father knows Shredder, and it was just, once you get past that, and of course, they kind of updated it, the Foot Clan isn't the Foot Clan anymore, now they're like military guys that are kind of, and I guess, it's post 9/11, kind of making them look like terrorists with guns. The CGI, once again, and I think we've talked about this before, I mean, of course, we all kind of wanted the turtles that we kind of grew up watching and, having beaks and stuff like that. But, I mean, I do have to give credit to the CGI. I mean, these things, the turtles looked like people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not attractive people. But, they look, who the hell is...
Well, that was me.
Oh, that was you, fucking ass.
Hey, I told you I was going to put that on Twitter, but continue. Sorry.
Okay, so...
See, people, we have proof. See, we have proof by the sound. By the way, turn your fucking phone off.
Oh yeah. So what I'm saying, that Splinter was a little disturbing to look at. I mean, this is supposed to be a movie for kids, and Splinter, even though the animation was good, it was kind of, he looked scary. Like, if kids are going to see this movie, like young kids, they might get fucking terrified of Splinter. Now, I do have to say, I mean, we're kind of watching this movie like, we have our versions of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And like, even like me, like I'm the kind of guy that like, I saw like the first movie in the theaters. I remember watching the original cartoon series. After that, I mean, I never watched the 2005 cartoon. Unfortunately, I just haven't had a chance to watch the new updated, 2013 CGI cartoon. I did see the CGI movie TMNT. But I've seen a couple episodes of the 2005 cartoon, and they're freaking awesome. And it seems to me like they were kind of, the people who made this movie were kind of using that more as a source of inspiration on design and relationships and kind of a tone than they did with the 90s cartoon that I grew up with, with Krang and Shredder and that whole thing. So
oh yeah.
I was actually surprised. I do have a couple notes because I was ready to freaking challenge Sketch, because was Sketch, what he gave it like a 2 out of 5, like if he got a 5 stars or something like that. What was his
5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. So he said, I mean, that's basically saying that like it was absolute shit, and I don't think so. I thought it was okay. Once again, butchered origin story.
Wait. Before we go too far into this, my friend, you can skim over it because we have to have a little debate here soon. So.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I won't go too deep into it, but
I know people are listening here. You made us wait so long. Why don't you just fucking go into it?
I mean, Megan Fox is April O'Neil. Okay, of course, when we first all heard that casting, we all started rolling our eyes like, okay, yeah, Megan Fox in a Michael Bay movie.
Don't get me wrong. Megan Fox is hot. Let's put it how it is. But
they work it into the movie because in the beginning, and this isn't really a spoiler, she's kind of like the fluff reporter. They send her to go to a class that does like aerobics on trampolines. Like it's one of those like, Good Morning America, happy, friendly stories. And she wants to be taken more seriously. So they kind of work in the fact that, okay, yeah, it's April O'Neil and she wants to be an investigative reporter, but she's not taken seriously because she's pretty, Now, a few things in the very, very beginning of the movie, because I rewatched it last night to kind of get my notes down. But of course, in the beginning of the movie, they really fucking used like a ton of shaky cam, and I hate when movies use that, and especially nowadays if you watch it on a big screen. And it was weird because it was sort of in the beginning of the movie, but then it didn't progress through the rest of the movie, which I'm glad it didn't.
Ooh, it looks like Sketch responded on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
He said, "Knock, knock, Chris. You about to get shell shocked."
And, now the one thing I do have to say is that this movie is going to, like how when you show certain technology in movies, 10 years down the line, it looks ridiculously outdated because a big portion of April O'Neil's quote unquote reporting in this movie is her using her Windows phone. I mean, that's one little complaint that I kind of have to say about the movie is that it is a bit of a commercial for Windows phones. That being said, I mean, it's going to look horribly updated in about 3 to 4 years when like the technology that seems all brand new today is like totally outdated, and she's like taking pictures of the turtles with the camera. And of course, these are turtles that are supposed to be ninjas. They're moving at like, breakneck speed. They're jumping around things, and she's taking like pictures of them with the phone. And of course, that kind of adds to the story that she can't get a picture of them because they're so fast. But, I would think if you're a reporter, of course, yeah, you're going to carry around something that's easy to fit in your pocket. But if you're going after the story, I'm assuming you're going to have more legitimate camera, like she does everything with her fucking Windows phone. It's obviously a super Windows, Microsoft probably paid big money to have their product placement.
Oh yeah, of course.
But I honestly, I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, the characters are well defined. If you're a person that you've never seen Ninja Turtles ever before, you kind of get the gist. Leonardo's the leader, Raphael's like kind of like the brooding, kind of a jerk. Michelangelo's kind of like the goofy, like not a stoner type because he doesn't smoke weed, but. And then you got, Donatello's kind of like the tech guy. And I honestly think that it does make them appear like teenagers. Like, in every other incarnation, in my opinion, they've always seemed like adults. They were called teenagers, but this one, like Michelangelo's constantly flirting with April O'Neil, even though like he doesn't have a shot in hell. But that's like something like a teenager does. I mean, even Raphael with like his brooding and stuff like that, it's kind of like being a teenager that's trying to be rebellious. I mean, I think it was handled really well, and they felt like teenagers. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it was, I mean, of course, okay, the Shredder looked goofy, with this, robotic samurai suit that has blades all over it. Okay, that was kind of stupid. But that being said, I mean, they finally gave Shredder a respectful, like the character kicked ass. I mean, it was obviously super duper CGI fights, but like, it wasn't in the movies. Like, and you watch the original, 89 or 90 movie, the animatronic live action one, Shredder threw punches and maybe a kick or two. And, it was kind of awkward to move. This fucking Shredder was flipping and bouncing off walls. And when he punched a turtle, like they spun like 10 times, after punching him. So I think it was, once you kind of get past the butchered origin story and you kind of like, the movie's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. How seriously can you take it? But I think it was handled relatively well. I thought, after seeing Transformers Butchered, I was pleasantly surprised to see how, I mean, not excellent, but then again, it also sets up, a lot of these, superhero movies. The first movie is kind of okay, and now that they've introduced all the characters, now they can expand onto the universe. And I guarantee you heard it here first, that they've drawn so much inspiration from the 2005 cartoon that I guarantee you, like, Casey Jones is probably going to be in the next movie. You'll probably see Bebop, you'll probably see Rocksteady. I mean, of course, they'll probably butcher their fucking origin stories, but I guarantee you're going to see Casey Jones, Bebop, and Rocksteady. That's just my opinion.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
It's,
well, that's a little taste of what's to come.
Yeah, just a little bit. And it was kind of cool. Like, I mean, they didn't do too much of it, but I mean, they also kind of did, like, when Splinter fights, he uses his tail as a weapon. Right. So, like, when he's, like, knocking out Foot Clan guys, and, like, he's, like, also, like he'll use his tail to take the gun out of the Foot Clan's guy's hand and then punch him in the face, and, like, it's like fighting with an extra appendage. I thought that was pretty fucking cool. I've never seen that in any of the cartoons where Splinter uses his tail to, fight or whatever. And then also in this, in the movie, like, Splinter doesn't fight until he has to fight. I mean, I don't think they're violating the essence of the character. And I honestly thought it was really good. Then they had, what's his face from Arrested Development? I can't believe I forgot his name. But he was the Vern character. And of course, Vern, I mean, from the cartoon that I grew up with and I was familiar with, was always kind of like this uptight, snobby jerk that was always kind of giving April O'Neil a hard time. They kind of made him kind of like, not a love interest, but, it was funny for comic relief that they kept using him to, like, he's kind of hitting on April, and, he thinks he has a chance on going on a date with her, but he obviously doesn't have a chance. And I thought it was funny. I was pleasantly surprised. After Transformers movies where you got fucking Jazz saying, "What's cracking, bitches," and Optimus Prime saying, "My bad," I thought the movie was going to be like that. I thought it was going to be eye-rollingly horrible, and it wasn't. And I think more people should go see it, or when the DVD comes out, get it off of Redbox or whatever the case may be, because it was fun. It was did it have its flaws? Absolutely, but it had like, I think it had like a 13% rating on Rotten Tomatoes or some ridiculous thing like that, and it's not fair. It was good, and this is and of course, I understandably, I come into a movie, I'm the kind of person, I'm the demographic, I'm the person who's gonna like it, but I was expecting it to be horrible. Well, it was decent.
I've seen both bad and good reviews, but we'll get into that on the next episode, because we don't really want to spoil.
Yeah, we won't go spoil
the debate. No,
because I still got my notes sketched. Damn it.
Hey, the challenge has been laid, and
the gauntlet has been thought down.
So this will be fun. And by the way, Sketch wants to be on another podcast, because I think this is getting a little, it's getting a little.
Does he want to come on right now, or?
No, I think he's watching. He's in the middle of the Attack on Titan.
Oh yeah, we're recording this on Saturday night, so it's Toonami night. So forgive me for interrupting his Attack on Titan, which he probably watched in Japanese the first time, then he saw in English, and now it's a whole night of reruns because it's a Saturday night. It's a holiday weekend, so they're not expecting people to really be home. People are probably out, watching baseball games and eating hot dogs and not really being home to sit and watch. So they're doing an Attack on Titan marathon right now on Toonami. The same episodes he's probably seen, I guarantee you, at least 3 or 4 times each. Japanese dub, American dub. But he's shaking in his fucking boots to come on the podcast. God. I'm just saying.
Anyways, let's move on to our. Let's talk about some things that have kept us busy, because I'm sure a lot of people are like, "Why the fuck haven't you put out an episode?"
Oh yeah, we usually do start the episode with more like personal stuff.
So why don't you go first?
Okay, for those following along.
I'm sure they've seen your Facebook page.
drama. And once again, thank you for everyone, giving me support, saying stay in there.
Wait. I think we should start this off by using the word vindication.
Oh, vindication, and that's definitely headed in the right direction.
Yes.
What had happened was unfortunately, our last episode came out before my daughter's birthday. On my daughter's birthday, people kept telling me, the old situation was I was having visits with my daughter's mother being the supervisor of the visits, and that everyone was telling me it was a horrible idea, and I agreed with them. But it was that or not see my daughter. So I went along with the program. Child Protective Services stepped in and basically said no. There's a couple more revelations revelations that I don't want to go in too deep into right now, because it's one of those deals where it's something I'm going to keep up my sleeve just for the time being. I'm not going to reveal all my cards, but there were some revelations, and so that being said, Child Protective Services basically said this is totally inappropriate. She's not supposed to be monitoring the visits. She obviously has a grudge. She has a bias. It's nothing but a setup. We don't want her supervising the visits. So that being said, the grandfather, who does have custody of my daughter, was not cooperating. I had suggested other people that had absolutely no bias in the situation. People, and this is, and I swear to God, this is what was quoted to me. He said, "Oh, he doesn't want such people supervising the visit because they'd be on my side." Like, really? They're on my side? Like this is some sort of fucking grudge match? This is some sort of this isn't some kiddie playground thing. I want to see my daughter. I'm paying child support.
Exactly.
And it's not like you have to lift a finger. It's not like you're doing anything special. The people that would supervise the visit would go to the house, pick up my daughter, bring my daughter to me, and then they would quote unquote supervise the visit. And then when all is said and done, they would drop the daughter back off. I wouldn't have to see the grandfather. But basically, he was showing and proving that he did not want to comply. He didn't want to cooperate. He didn't want to follow the rules. And I called him. People like, oh, well, you can't. I called him, and he's like, well, I'll see you in court. Was what he basically told me. So we go to court, and of course, the judge was like, you're not following the rules. These are the rules that I specified. So long story short, my daughter's mother is being kicked out of the grandfather's house, so she's not even going to be living there anymore. And and I've gotten unsupervised visits back, which there never was a problem, but and they had gotten a report back from Child Protective Services. Anyone who would honestly think that I would hit my daughter, has a fucking screw loose who doesn't know, or either they're lying or they're so stupid or they just don't know the situation. So I got visitations back with my daughter, and but of course it was a Friday. We went to court, and I wasn't able to see my daughter until Monday. And my mom, this has been putting my mom through the ringer. My mom has been stressed out about the whole deal. But I drove down to New York City, picked up my mom, hopped in the car. I was literally in New York, probably 12 hours, came back that night. And then my mom has been with me. So surprisingly enough, for our long-term listeners, my mom's in my house, but you don't hear her snoring right now. So I think that's pretty
Fingers crossed.
But she's here. But yeah, like our last episode, I think the episode was titled "Don't Wake Mommy," where you hear my mom snoring in the background, which she's in the same, I have 2 beds in my house, so my mom's in her bed, and that's the whole thing, in my apartment I have 2 beds. There's time and a place for me to have my daughter back at my house, so that's all good. And then my lawyer, I got assigned a new lawyer for the case, and she basically said, even my lawyer was like, look, I've been doing this for 26 years. You've done everything you needed to do. I can't see. She goes, we may have to go to trial if the grandfather doesn't want to cooperate. But, the lawyer's like, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't have your daughter. And then even, 2 days ago, I've been going to therapy. I've been going to anger management, take care of all that. My therapist is actually moving on to a better paying gig, for lack of a better term. And even he was like, I don't see why you need therapy. He goes, let's leave the door open. Let's leave the options open. You could always come back to the office. I'd be seeing someone else. I'd be seeing a different therapist because he's moving on to bigger, better things. But he's like, and I'm like, could you put that in writing? Could you give me a letter that I could give the court? And he's like, absolutely. So, things are heading in the right direction. I don't want to jinx it by talking about it on the podcast, but I'm also, doing the podcast is also a bit of therapy. This is me kind of letting the world know what's going on in my life. So, I'm still working on getting custody of my daughter. I've been visiting with her, been having a lot of fun, and, there never was a problem. People were making problems that they didn't exist. And, I've stayed the course, and I've proven that, I'm not the one with the problem.
Right.
I'm a victim of lies. It's a conspiracy. No.
God.
Okay, so so then now to add, yet another episode of soap opera drama. My tires got slashed the other day.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you what the hell was that all about?
So I'm, my mom's in town and this and that, and I visit my daughter, and then there's pictures on Facebook of me visiting my daughter. And the next morning we wake up early because we're gonna go do laundry. And I start to drive, and I realize that everything's feeling a little sluggish, and my tires have been slashed. Now, that being said, understand that about 4 or 5 years ago, before my daughter was born, she had slashed my tires back then. We had gotten into an argument, and she had taken, and her mentality is, I'm going to slash 2 tires, because if you slash just 1 tire, most people carry like a donut or a spare tire or something like that. But if you slash 2 tires, then you're really fucked. So I woke up, 2 tires have been slashed, filed a police report. I'm waiting to hear back from my lawyer. I left a message with her, seeing and I guess with the holiday weekend, she's not around. So I guess the drama's not totally over. She feels necessary to come to my house and slash my tires. So, but the funny thing is I was kind of due to get new tires anyway. They were kind of wearing down a little bit. I'm making light of, I'm seeing the silver lining in the fucking cloud. I was kind of due to get new tires, but I'm not going to make any accusations, but who else has an axe to grind?
I was going to say, are you sure that it wasn't her? But
Yeah,
that pretty much answers my question.
She's slashed 2 tires in the past.
Right.
What I'm saying? It's her style. She has a motive. And there's no one really watching her. I mean, that was part of the reason why she's getting kicked out of her father's house, is that, she comes and goes as she pleases.
Right.
I'm saying? Like, she doesn't even tell her father when she's leaving or going or whatever. So when she gets back, when she's going, so there's no accountability. I mean, obviously this had to happen like in the middle of the night because
Well, from the sounds of it, it sounds like the father was kind of fed up with her anyway. So
yeah, he was fed up with her shit, so he's kicking her out. So she's mad and she's taking that out on me. So
yeah, there's nothing to do with you because, well, and I really don't want to tell people what it was, but it's just for me, like, obviously, she got caught doing whatever she was doing, and basically the father's like, well, guess what? You're out.
Yeah.
So,
but it's my fault because I'm the asshole.
yeah, it's not your fault, though, because he's the one that kicked her out.
In her head, I'm the bad guy.
Are you eating while we're recording a podcast?
Sorry.
I swear to God, I'm going to chop your head off.
I'm sorry. There was a luscious piece of chicken next to me. I had to eat it. I'm sorry. Okay, and so I guess, you had a death in the family also, which is kind of pushed back our recording schedule.
Yeah, unexpectedly, my grandfather went to the hospital. I want to say it was... Oh, God. Let me think here. I believe it was Tuesday. No, it was Tuesday or Wednesday. No, I think it was Thursday. Well, whatever. It was one of those days my grandfather went to the hospital. Basically, they said that he was pretty much going to die. So what they did is they made him comfortable, and basically the plan was to see if he would live through the night, if he would be, if he lived through the night, basically they would do CAT scans and see what was going on and, go from there. Well, around 3 a.m. that night, he actually ended up passing away. We really weren't it really wasn't anything that was a surprise to us because my grandfather kind of wasn't he wasn't looking that good, and we kind of really were expecting this to happen at some point, but it was it kind of happened really quickly, so it was kind of a shock at that point. But we had the funeral this week, or not this week. So much time has gone by, dude. It's not. Oh yeah, no, it was Tuesday. Yes, yeah, it was Tuesday.
Yeah, and I can't exactly say, oh, come on, Paul, let's talk about fucking Guardians of the Galaxy while you're in mourning, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, but what I can say that came out of it, and I think definitely meant a lot to me, was I haven't really talked about her in a while, but Kelsey has been in the picture behind the scenes a little bit, and she was there for me. It meant a lot for her to be there with me. It was there's really not any words that I can say to have somebody there that is means a lot to me, to be there and support me. And it was having her there made it a lot better, and
yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's times like that where we need people like that in our lives, where
yes,
when you're at your, I don't say at your worst, but when times are pretty freaking low, You know, if you want somebody there.
Well, it definitely shows you. It definitely shows you, you know, who are the people that actually love you, and who are the people that are just like, well, fuck you. You know what I mean?
Because it's easy to be with someone when times are good. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to be with, you know, when things are great and everyone's doing well or whatever. You know, when someone's by your side when you're like low, that's like, you know, that proves, you know, like I said, it's easy to be around someone when everyone's having a good time and everyone's having fun and everyone, you know, when there's tragedy and stuff like that, and you know.
Well, it definitely meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to my family because they were happy to see her too. So, you know, things are looking good in my personal life at the moment. So, but yeah, that's basically what delayed us. This.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of, you know, unfortunately, just like, you know, between my daughter's, you know, me not getting to visit on my daughter's birthday, you know, the death in your family. I mean, you know, neither one of us, like, you know, when one of us would be able to record, the other one was kind of down, and you know, it's been a crazy couple of weeks, but I do promise you guys that we're gonna, you know, do our best to keep this show on a steady schedule. You know, we haven't asked anybody yet, but I mean, I got a couple of good ideas for people that I would like to interview, kind of friends of friends on Facebook that are kind of, you know, people with projects coming up. And of course, you know, we got to come in here, Sketch get his verbal smackdown.
Also, we got, you know, there's a couple people I have in mind too. It's kind of hard because, you know, unlike Chris, I have this podcast and the Toonami Faithful podcast, which, you know, obviously I try to do both on a regular basis, but, you know, having two jobs, having two podcasts, having two websites, it's kind of, and, you know, having a personal life with a son and whatnot, it's kind of hard to do all these things. I mean, I've talked about this before, but, you know, it's no excuse. It is what it is. You know what I mean?
So hopefully you guys are enjoying it, and I think we'll be back with more dick and fart jokes.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc., 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Click and Hit, enhancing the experience for all recreational smokers. Click and Hit is a one-handed portable vaporizer. This smoking pipe has a compact 4-stage design, complete with a built-in, windproof, butane refillable torch lighter. The large burn chamber holds your stash of legal herb or pipe tobacco. Click the button to ignite and inhale as usual. When you are done, put it back in your pocket for later. Smoke anytime with the touch of a button. No more carrying around grinders and tins. You can leave the pipe, rolling papers, and even your lighter at home. The Click and Hit cordless vaporizer is no bigger than a normal cigar, making it the world's smallest and most discreet vaporizer. It's perfect for use in small places or shared rooms. It's efficient, getting 5 to 8 draws from your packed chamber. It's affordable at just $19.95 each. Buy 3 and the shipping is free. Buy 4 and you get the 5th one free. Visit www.click-n-hit.com. That's clickandhit.com.
And now for listeners of Two Strangers, One Podcast, you can use promo code STRANGERS and receive 10% off your purchase at clickandhit.com. That's promo code STRANGERS for 10% off your purchase.
And we're back. Okay, I guess, the first part of the episode usually is a time where we talk about personal stuff, and I don't want to keep it too depressing or whatever, but I think the biggest story since our last episode, definitely the one that's kind of like hurt me the most. I mean, when it's weird when it involves someone who you don't know them in real life, but they've just been such an influence on life, is of course the death of Robin Williams.
Yes.
You know, and you know, of course, the shock that it was suicide. You know, and just this recently, I was just tonight, as a matter of fact, I said, let me just jump on IMDb and see, you know, what other movies, because, you know, now, you know, we're so used to, nowadays Hollywood, you know, actors, you know, when someone passes away, they still, usually most actors still kind of have like a movie or so left, you know, and, you know, it was crazy to see. He has a movie called The Angriest Man in Brooklyn, which is coming out, and the twist of that movie is about a guy who finds out he has 90 minutes to live, and like in the trailer, or I guess the trailer that was made obviously before his passing, there's his ex, because part of the guy who realizes he has 90 minutes to live goes to make reconciliation with his brother and with his ex-wife, and she goes, I wish you die, or whatever, I wish you would just die, and he goes, you're gonna grant your wish, or something like that. And that was kind of chilling to watch in the trailer. Of course, the third Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb. He was oh my God, that shows you what a wonderful American I am. He was a president in one of those movies.
Yes.
He's in this movie called. Go on.
I was gonna say, well, what he's most remembered for. I mean, I guess there's a lot of movies that people could remember him for, but the biggest ones that he was remembered for, I would say Mrs. Doubtfire. Mm-hmm. He was the genie in Aladdin, and actually the third Aladdin, which he should have been in the second one, but I've heard stories about why. Let's see, what else. Good Morning Vietnam, very awesome movie, love that movie. God, I'm trying to think what else there was. The one that I like, that I think is an obscure one that shows a different side of him, is Where Dreams May Lie. I believe is the name of the movie.
What Dreams May Come. Okay. Yeah, that one where he basically, I think he dies first, and then his wife commits suicide in order to join him. Mm-hmm. But he has to actually go on a journey through heaven. I believe it's through heaven, and then he has to actually go into hell and get her back, so that way they can live eternity together. Wow. So I thought that was... have you ever seen the movie? No, I haven't. I mean...
You never seen that movie?
I've never seen it. I mean, that's the whole thing.
Oh,
is
my God. You got to pick this movie up, dude. Like, you sit there and you be like, oh, my God, this is a really good movie. I don't... He won the Academy Award for...
Dead Poets. I mean, he won it for Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, Good Will Hunting. So that's where he won the award there, but I thought he should have won the award then for that movie, because that was a really good movie, dude. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's, I mean, like another movie that everyone seems to quote is Dead Poets Society, and I never saw that either. It's so weird, like I claim to be a fan of his, but there's like so many movies of his that I didn't see.
I mean, if we really want to go, like, you really, really want to go old school on this, like, talk about this for a minute. He was the guy. I think his first. Don't quote me on this, but I think it's either his first movie or one of his first was the Popeye movie back in the day.
Yeah, I'm on his IMDb page right now. I think that was the first movie that he was a star in.
Okay.
Because I know he did. Okay, I'm just gonna
Then obviously the series that he did. I think it's really, besides the more recent TV series that he did. The only TV series that he had done was
Mork and Mindy.
Yeah, I mean, he had that recent one with Sarah Michelle Gellar that actually got canceled. I can't think.
Crazy Ones, and that's like, when and I kind of wanted, and I'm not trying to be rude here, but imagine like if you're the person, like you're the CBS executive that was the person that canceled that episode, like because somebody had to make the decision.
The series, yeah,
and it's kind of like like you would think like because they were saying that he was having money problems in the fact that he was divorced like 3 times. And when even if you have $100 million, you cut that in half, you got $50 million. Cut that in half, you got $25 million. Cut that in half, you got $12 million. When you're supposed to have $100 million, I mean $12 million compared to $100 million. So I mean he was having relative, for a guy of his caliber, he was having financial problems.
Right.
That was kind of like people were saying that he was doing the Crazy Ones kind of to help take care of some bills and stuff like that, and.
Well, I mean, from what I heard, and again, these are just you hear so many. It's like this. We're not going to really talk about it, but this whole Ferguson thing. There's so many things that are said about these things that after a while you just turn off the TV and go, I'm done even trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Yeah. Because like with Robin Williams, basically like they had said that he had like apparently what it was is he had Parkinson's, and and that was the reason why he committed suicide, was because basically it was getting worse and worse and worse, and that's why. Apparently that's what happened. Because I don't think did he divorce his last wife or no?
Oh, I think he was. No, he was. No, I'm sorry, not the last one. No,
I don't think so either. Because
she was the one that made the announcement a couple of days after it passed.
So.
And it's one of those deals, but I mean, come on. I mean, like Michael J. Fox. Michael J. Fox has Parkinson's. I mean, of course, everybody's rate of deterioration is different. Michael J. Fox, a lot younger than Robin Williams. Michael J. Fox also, I mean, to the best of my knowledge, Robin Williams is notorious for being like a drug addict, in the late 70s, early 80s. He deteriorated his body, with all that drug use. You know what I'm saying? He lived like, like if you're driving a car and you push the pedal all the way here and you're in the red zone, he lived a good portion of his life, totally flying high, and that takes a toll on your body.
Right.
So he probably would have gotten Parkinson's like a lot worse than what Michael J. Fox is now. And I guess, part of that is, here's a guy who brought so much joy into people's lives, and now you're going to be like this person that, like, they don't want to bring you out. Like when you see like Muhammad Ali, they bring Muhammad Ali out, and he kind of has a version of Parkinson's because from all the years of getting punched in the head, and he was, when you see Muhammad Ali, he's shaking and stuff like that. And I guess it was one of those deals where like you don't want to be brought out in a wheelchair and have people feel sorry for you and have people
right.
And you kind of like, and you kind of have to fight that kind of inclination, or like, look, I don't want to live anymore because.
Well, after to be honest with you, like, if I remember correctly, and this is just a story about a guy here in Rochester, by the name of George Eastman, the guy that created Kodak.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, George Eastman did a lot of things. He did a lot of things for the community. He did a lot of things for film. Obviously, he was one of the people that got photography to where it was, and even now, like, we have cameras on our cell phone, we have cameras on other things as well. Kodak had started developing that technology before anybody else did, and that's why, like, you'll see Kodak from time to time sue a cell phone company, because they're infringing on their patents. Mm-hmm. And I think they've actually gotten rid of those patents. They've already been purchased by companies and whatnot, so that's out of the question. But what I'm trying to say is basically he had come to a point where he's like, okay, I lived my life. I've done everything I want to do. I'm just going to, end my life. And I think that, basically, what was it? Basically, like, Robin Williams was at that point, but in a different way, because he had said at that point, okay, well, I've done a lot with my life. I think I've done a very good job, I'm just going to do that. That's just my opinion about what I think he did, and I don't see it as a bad thing. I think some people do, but Robin Williams brought a lot of joy into everybody's life, so I can't see why he would be. People would sit there and go, "Oh, well, he committed suicide." I think people have just basically pushed that to the side. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, I mean, I've heard a lot of people say, don't let that, for his legacy, don't let that be the thing that you remember.
Right.
And, so, Jesus Christ, this is fucking depressing. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's see. What else was I going to say?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, it is
now made the highest grossing movie of 2014.
Yep. As of today, it surpassed... It was either today or yesterday. It surpassed the
Lego movie.
Yep, Lego movie. So
both starring Chris Pratt.
It's hilarious.
Because he's the voice of the main character. Now, I haven't seen it yet. I hear good things, the Lego movie. But, and the whole thing is that, like, I mean, I remember Chris Pratt. For me, I know him mostly from the movie What's Your Number with Anna Faris. Because that's his, I don't know if that's his wife or his girlfriend.
That's his wife.
And,
I think it's wife, yeah.
And you know what it is? Like, he's on Parks and Rec. And if I'm not mistaken, they're doing, like, one more season of Parks and Rec. And I hate Parks and Rec. I despise that show with a passion. And I'm like, now I'm going to have to start watching Parks and Rec because I like Chris Pratt. And so it's my mom's dogs barking in the background.
How does your mom not, like, freaking, like, wake up to that shit?
I don't know. I guess she's used to the dog being a pain in the ass.
Do you want to wait a minute?
Shut up, you mutt. Okay. Okay, let's move on. Ice Bucket Challenge. I did an Ice Bucket Challenge, which hopefully, you know what I'll do before this episode comes out? I'll post it on our Facebook page. I think it was pretty awesome. I think it was pretty epic. I called you out on it. All the people I've called out, nobody has come out and done their Ice Bucket Challenge yet, so I'm kind of like pissed off.
There's a lot of people that haven't done the challenge. Like, for me, like, I just, like, I've been trying to find time. Like, this week will probably be the first time I can actually even attempt to do it. So hopefully this week I'll do it. But because I've been challenged like 4 times now. Okay. So now I'm just kind of like, I think it's time that I do something. So, yeah, I'm going to get to it at some point. It's probably going to be more Toonami Faithful than anything. I'm going to be an ass and make you look bad, but that's fine. Let's see.
Liam Neeson.
Oh, yes. This is the news I wanted to talk about. So, if you don't mind me saying, basically, MTV, I think, was the one that interviewed him. They did a video interview, and they had said, So, Ra's al Ghul is going to be on Arrow. Weird question. Did you maybe want to be Ra's al Ghul on the series? And he's like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I believe the actual quote was, "I'll do it in a heartbeat."
Yeah, exactly. And he's, obviously, he's not, they haven't approached him, they haven't asked him to do it, but I think this has actually opened a door. And I know that, maybe they want to stay away from, using some other series like The Dark Knight or something like that. But here's the thing is, like, people actually want to see that. Like, there's this big push now to see him on Arrow as Ra's al Ghul,
Yeah, it's. I mean, here's my little take on it, real quick. Unfortunately, even I've heard good things. I haven't watched one episode of Arrow, and especially now. I mean, they're gonna do The Flash, and that's kind of a spin-off of Arrow, and so they're already they're expanding their universe from the Arrow. I mean, of course, this all kind of lives in the shadow of Smallville. But if you take Liam Neeson and you put him in there, that is the equivalent of like when they had what's his face, Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury as the cameo in the end of Iron Man. Like, it expands the universe. It brings everything. And I know they're gonna say, oh, if you do it, you're kind of copying Marvel. Well, fuck it, copy Marvel, because Marvel's doing pretty good right now. So. I think it would be an awesome idea. I mean, and then plus, see, someone like me who's never watched the show, I tell you what, I'd watch the episode with Liam Neeson.
Right.
So it would bring people like me into the fold, because I mean, as much as I keep hearing good things, I just haven't gotten around to watching it.
Right. And you don't know, speaking of Smallville, this isn't in the Smallville continuality. This is a different Arrow. So it would make sense to have Liam Neeson in this one. Mm-hmm. Whereas if the guy that was playing Arrow in Smallville was part of it, then, obviously at that point we wouldn't want to have him in it. So, what the hell? Do you got animals talking in the background now?
Yeah, my mom woke up, so the cat's meowing at her. Get all these professional podcasts.
This is such a professional podcast, people. You can hear it.
Okay, so I think you wanted to talk about the boy with spiked hair.
Ah, yes. So it's been a while since we talked about it, but finally Mike got all of his singles done.
Mike Flizzy.
Mike Flizzy. If you haven't heard that episode, please go back and listen to it. It was an awesome episode, at least in my opinion. Basically, here's the deal. So, and if you're listening to this podcast, well, you're going to get a one-up on everybody else. If you haven't seen everything and don't understand what's going on, here's the deal. Every week, it's probably going to be Wednesday, so that gives you a leg up right there. I would say around 10, 11 p.m. Eastern time, depending on... I'm saying that depending on where you're listening, because, some people are like, what do you mean by 11? What do you mean by 10? Whatever. Basically, we're releasing one single per week. It'll be on Wednesdays, again, around 10, 11 p.m. Eastern time. For the first 24 hours, the song will be free. So, for example, right now, the song Cheat Codes... it's Mike Flizzy featuring Jargon, which Jargon is a really, really good nerdcore rapper. That single is up right now. For the first 24 hours, it was free. Right now, it's just $1 download, but it's a really good track. And I may have Chris throw it in there just to give you guys a little sense of the song. Yeah, if you guys want that is every single week now. And trust me, you're gonna like what you hear. I could tell you also we got a couple other CDs coming up too. It seems like everybody all of a sudden decided to is like, yeah, I want to do some more songs together. Oh, I want to do more songs together. So I'm just like, all right, well, I guess we're gonna get started on Nerdcore Absolution Volume 3. So here first, I'm telling you, Nerdcore Absolution 3 is in, I would say, pre-production. Mm-hmm. I didn't really plan on bringing this out until next year, but since everybody's right now is all like, yeah, I want to do this CD now, because they're all like, well, what are we going to call it? I'm like, Nerdcore Absolution Volume 3. I'm like, why not? Might as well get started on it, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, basically, those are some things that are coming. There's also going to be, and I don't usually talk about Toonami-related things, but on here at least. Basically, we're going to do another Toonami CD That's nerdcore basis. Basically, what we do those for is because, we need to fund the podcast and, or fund the podcast, fund the website, just like Chris, probably wants to do something with this eventually, to fund us. Basically, we need to, that there's going to be a CD, and, if you guys like to see the songs, you can buy the songs and help support ToonamiFaithful.com, help support the podcast, and, we'll just go from there. So that's basically what's coming in along the lines. Some other geeky things, like we have a couple other reviews that are coming. I think three of them are anime. One is Legend of Korra Season 2, and then one that I actually might have Chris do, just to get a different perspective. It's what is the name? I gotta get the correct name. I think it's Batman Assault on Arkham.
Oh yeah, Batman Assault on Arkham. Which
right. So
we were supposed to do an episode, but
no, we're probably gonna do that too. But it's just time is time, my friend. We gotta find the time. So,
just letting people know that the Blu-ray is out there right now.
Yeah, the Blu-ray is out there right now, and I kind of hope they would have sent it to me early so I could have done a review early, but since they didn't, I'm going to take my time on that one, and either I'll do the review or you'll do the review. It'll be a video review, so...
Yeah, and actually, not for nothing, without spoiling too much, this is like the most adult movie that DC has put out. Like, it's the most... violence, yes. Adult situations, absolutely. And,
have you seen the movie already?
Oh, yeah.
You son of a bitch.
I was getting ready I was putting my notes together for the episode that we're never going to do.
Fucking piece of shit, not telling me this stuff.
But it's really, really adult. I'm just saying for those who are listening who haven't seen it yet, it's really, really violent, and it's really adult, and it's, and when I say adult, I don't mean like the childish adult where like, fart jokes and dick jokes. No, of course there's a couple of childish jokes, that people misquote as adult humor, but it's really good. That's all I got to say is, I don't even want to spoil any bit of it. Definitely check it out, and I guess I will do a review. I guess we kind of know where my opinion's going to be on it, but it's really adult and grown up, and I enjoyed it.
Right, and I'll probably end up watching it, and then maybe we can, if I can't do an episode, maybe we can I'll let you do the review, depending on how it is, because it's kind of hard. Problem is it's kind of hard when like you don't have any time and you're trying to do reviews too at the same time. So like. Other people doing reviews would be nice.
Gotcha.
Trust me. I think that's it really for Geeky. Actually, first of all, I'd like to start putting this podcast on Geeky again. Make it on a regular basis, because I think this would be a lot better on our site, and it'll get a lot more traffic, hopefully. Also, what I'd like to do, and we'll probably correspond with this podcast as well to do that, is try to get more interviews that are not, because the main site is pretty much ToonamiFaithful.com, because that's where I put all my time and energy in, and obviously, it's paid off in more ways than one. But pretty much we're looking to, with Geeky, we're looking to try to get more interviews. Mostly audio, but if we can get video interviews too, we will. I think Chris is probably going to still go to, I don't know if you're going to want to go to New York Comic Con. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it down this year, to be honest with you, but we're going to try to get Chris down there. We're going to try to get my new video editor, Adam, down there to help Matt out, because we want to try to get as many video interviews that we can down there. And I'm sure Chris would love to do video interviews, wouldn't you, Chris?
Absolutely.
Oh, I would love to do that. Yeah, I know you would.
I'm a jam, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll make you do Toonami ones too. I love this. Anyways, but yeah, we kind of want to hear. I kind of want to hear from you guys, like what people you would like us to interview. Like, for example, the voice of Fry from Futurama. I think he did a couple other.
Yeah, Billy West. Are you kidding me? Yeah, Billy
yeah,
West.
he's coming here to RockCon. I would love to get him, but I don't know if we're going to be able to get in there and talk to him. If we can, we will. But if you guys are interested in something like that, or you'd like us to interview other voice actors and actresses that aren't Toonami related, I would love to do that as well. Let us know. Email Chris. at
twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com.
Yep, and you can also email me. My email is paulbascrillo@toonamifaithful.com. I'd like to hear from you guys and see what other interviews you'd like us to do. Remember, this is more, obviously Toonami. I can get Toonami voice actors and actresses like it's me drinking water most of the time. But as far as other voice actors and actresses, we would like to have more. And if you want us to interview somebody, or even if it's like an actor that's not a voice actor, let us know and we'll see what we can do. There's nothing out of the realm of possibility, but if we don't know, we can't try. So I know I kind of said a lot there.
Okay, so let's see. Jeanette McCurdy, and I guess if that name doesn't sound familiar to you, she was Sam from iCarly.
Yes.
She was also in Cat and Sam, starring your...
Sam and Cat, yeah.
Sam and Cat, excuse me.
Yeah, make sure you get that shit right, okay? Continue.
Which she did with Ariana Grande, your little crush right there.
Dude, I called that shit. I fucking called that shit. Did you see how big she fucking blew up this year?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Dude, I called that shit. I was like, dude, watch this chick. She is going to fucking blow up, and everybody's just gonna be like, who the hell is this girl? And she blew up. Mm-hmm. So I called that shit, bitches. Write that shit down. But anyways, continue what you were saying.
And so basically, she's doing a show now, or she's doing, a web series called What's Next for Sarah. And I think if you go on right now, I actually watched the pilot episode, and it's only like a 15-minute episode, but it's kind of like she's playing a character much like how she is in real life, where she's someone that's, has done doing like a kiddie show and then wants to grow up and kind of like she doesn't know what's next in her life or whatever. And she's according to the website, she's 22 years old. If you follow her on any kind of like social media, and someone had posted a link to like her Twitter or whatever, and then I said, let me follow her. She's attractive. She is done, if you're not familiar, she is just taking pictures of herself like in underwear and she was, oh, Jesus Christ.
Dude, I want to say this. Like, I understand that people thought that she was like naked, but I haven't seen one picture of her where she's like full frontal naked. Like, to me, if I hear somebody say, okay, well, this actor or actress was naked, I want to see like some kind of full frontal nudity here. I don't see anything. It's basically her in her underwear, or her like laying on the bed naked with, you don't see anything. So it's just like,
yeah. And
okay.
And in the world after like a Britney Spears or Christina Aguilera, or any of these people, like, is it really shocking that someone who was famous when they were young, they get a little older, they become more adult, they do things that are gonna, how could it can't really shock you? Like, there's people like, oh, you're a role model. And it's like, you're we were all young once. We all did stupid things when we were young.
And if I could pause you right there, like, it's not like this one has like gone off on the deep end, or, to be honest with you, even if she is transitioning into like more adult stuff, this is happening later than what some of these other, actresses and actors from Disney or Nickelodeon, in this case Nickelodeon, develop into, Mm-hmm. So, this isn't out of the realm of, like, she's not doing anything, in my opinion, that's like, okay, she's offensive. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's hot, okay? There's nothing, like, this girl could probably do anything she wants. I don't know if you've known, but she's done country music.
Oh, that's right, yeah, I remember hearing about, I'm not exactly
and
country fan.
Good, it was good, dude. Like, the songs that she had was good, and I don't understand why this girl isn't singing right now. Like, I'm literally kind of, like, speechless to why this girl, like, okay, fine, you're done. If you and Ariana Grande weren't, you guys have some kind of rivalry, get your ass back in the country and make her look bad with your music. Because, dude, you had a good fucking voice. Like, look, let's take the fact that you're hot out of the equation. When you have a good voice, this is like Jamie Foxx. I never understood. This is one of the things that always boggles my mind. Why did it take so long for somebody to go, see Jamie Foxx, he needs to get his ass signed? dude, you've heard the Jamie Foxx show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, like, dude, I used to get so pissed, man. Like, I'm sitting there going, really?
Mm-hmm.
Like, really? Like, why does this guy not have a recording contract? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, I guess like in the early part of his career, I mean, when he was like still on like In Living Color, it would have been kind of hard to take him seriously because he was still kind of goofy and shit like that. But I mean, like, you know, he's come into his own. I mean, you know, women love him now. I mean, he's hit the gym and stuff like that. I mean, you know, back in the Living Color days, I mean, you know, not that he was, you know, bulky, but you know, he looked like a skinny kind of guy that's kind of funny to laugh at because, you know, but I mean, he's come into his own and you know, I mean, you know, the guy's, you know, does comedy, does drama, you know, he got, you know, a lot of acclaim for Ray, you know, I mean, you know, to the fact that, you know, he came in, you know, played Electro in a freaking Spider-Man movie. And, you know, someone like me, I didn't blink an eye. You know what I'm saying? When they said he's playing Electro, like, I was like, oh, okay, I get it, you know, and it was, and you know, and did as well as he could do. Like, you know, all the problems with this movie, none of the problems really had to do with Jamie Foxx, you know. And of course, I mean, I bring that up because that's how he comes into my realm, you know. I mean, of course, I loved In Living Color when I was a kid. But, you know, the fact that he can play a role that wasn't typically played by, you know, isn't typically a black actor, you know, and comes in and like I said, I was totally fine with it. I was totally fine with his performance and the fact that he sings and acts and you know, can still do kind of like, you know, if he wanted to, he could do a slapstick comedy. You know, he could do it like a real goofy comedy if he wanted to, or he could, you know, continue doing dramas. You know, there was one where he was like a violin guy that went crazy and became homeless and stuff like that. You know,
right.
I forgot the name of that movie, but you know what I mean.
Just to me, like I said, like this girl, for example, is going to be another one of those where, I mean, I can't really say that she's gonna blow up because she blew up. She wasn't, you know what I mean? Like she was in one of the biggest series in Nickelodeon's history. You know, like this is, you know, she pretty much like if she was smart enough and she did the right thing, like she should have a lot of fucking money stockpiled. Mm-hmm. Dude, seriously, like I'm not even kidding. But for me, like, I could see this girl doing a lot more than what she's trying to do right now. You know what I mean?
I mean, she's got her whole career ahead of her. I mean, you know.
Right.
All right. So, now, did you hear the news that an interviewer asked David Chase, the creator of The Sopranos? I mean, of course, you know, the actual actor has passed away. But he had asked, did Tony Soprano survive the last episode of The Sopranos? Did you hear that story?
Yes, I actually heard that story. It was weird.
And the first initial, and I think it's just David Chase being very vague. At first, he had kind of alluded to Tony survived. You know, nothing. Like I think he kind of put it like nothing happened that night. You know, like we were led to believe, and we were led to, you know, kind of have this anxiety that something bad was going to happen to him that night. I mean, you know, there was a lot of suspect stuff going on in the diner, but then he retracted and he was like, oh, it was misconstrued by the interview, and I think it's just David Chase just being an ass, just, you know, wanting to keep the mystery alive, because I guess you know, if had he really said, okay, Tony Soprano lived, and then, you know, now we really can't do a movie because the actor passed away, you know, that would have been it would be a huge disappointment. Even though, like, I mean, you know, The Sopranos, there was times where it was really good, and there was times where I wanted to fucking put my fist to the screen. You know, but, you know, I guess the David Chase is just being like trying to continue being mysterious or whatever. But I think, you know, I'm going to go by his first answer and say, no, Tony survived. Nothing happened that night. You know,
exactly.
It was just a lot of anxiety just to kind of have us leave on a like weird note of, you know, is Tony Soprano dead? But then again, the actor's dead. So, I mean,
it makes sense. But, you know, I honestly think that, you know, you say that was the first thing you said. That's the way it's going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's like,
so.
You know, don't hide, don't recant your freaking statement. And I want to give a shout out to Oscar. I mean, over the 3 weeks, I and it's funny because I really don't check the email in between episodes, but Oscar has sent us 4 different emails wondering where the hell we are. So once again, if you want to write us, you can write us at Two Strangers One Podcast. Oscar, you're hilarious, bro. I love you. He says he's going into rehab. He's going through withdrawal. And hopefully the beginning of this episode will explain to you why we haven't been on the air. for a couple of days, or for a couple of weeks. Okay, and also because the reason I bring that up is because Oscar has asked us what animated movies, in the past episode he asked what kind of animated movies. Just the other day I watched this one called Heroes United, Iron Man and Captain America. Oh, excuse me, it's the other way around. Iron Man and Captain America, Heroes United. It was fucking awesome. It's basically they took the Iron Man and Captain America of the movie universe, like the animation style. They look like the characters that we're familiar with from the movies. It has Red Skull, and I'm trying to remember who else was in the movie. But basically, I mean, those are like the three main characters in the movie: Red Skull, Iron Man, and Captain America. And it's kind of like, and it kind of follows in the continuity. Like it's kind of like what happened. Like I mean, I don't know where it stands, if this is supposed to be in canon with the movies that are going on right now. But the designs are from the movies, and the way things are set up are from the movies. So and the way the story ends, I mean, it kind of not spoiling anything, but it kind of it leaves things open enough where it really doesn't interfere with the universe. But I'm surprised I didn't. And apparently there's also a I want to say Iron Man and Hulk Heroes United. Give me 1 second to look that up real quick.
You should be prepared, goddammit.
Yeah, there's another one called Iron Man and Hulk Heroes United, or Heroes United Iron Man and Hulk, or whatever the case may be, which I'm going to check out real soon. But I mean, definitely give that a look. It's a very unique animation style, but I enjoyed the shit out of it. It was really fucking good. So I guess we're gonna start wrapping it up. That's what she said. You can visit 2s1p.com. You can find all links for everything show related. There you'll find links to our iTunes if you have an iPhone, iPad, iPod. You could download pretty much every single episode. You go back over 2 years ago and listen to the very first episodes of Two Strangers with One Podcast. You can hear me saying, Guardians of the Galaxy, what a horrible idea. And then, well, I didn't say that. But then you can hear me now saying, it's the greatest movie I've ever seen. You can, if you don't have an iPhone, iPad, iPod, and you want to download episodes to your Android device, you can use the Stitcher app. That's STITCHER. I had used it recently when I drove down to New York City, and I used it the way I always tell other people to use it. While I was at home, I updated all my episodes, and it downloaded them to my phone, and then I listened to them while I was driving. I didn't have to use my data. I used my Wi-Fi while I was at home. But if you happen to be on the road and you want to listen to the latest episode of Two Strangers One Podcast, or Toonami Faithful, or or any of the...
Damn straight you mentioned that one.
Any podcast worth listening to, you could download, I believe it downloads the 6 most recent episodes, and you can listen to them when you're out and about, so you're not really killing the battery on your phone or your Android device. Let me see what else. You can write to us like Oscar, and I love Oscar because he's like, of all the people that support the show and write to us on Twitter. And on Twitter we're at Stranger Podcast. That's the @ Stranger Podcast. And if you want to write us an email like Oscar, his emails are hilarious. You can write us Two Strangers One Podcast, all spelled out, @gmail.com. If you're on Facebook, and who the fuck isn't, you can find us at facebook.com/Two Strangers One Podcast. Once again, all spelled out. And I think that's about it. I really can't think. I always get myself caught. Like, I'm trying to remember what everything. That's all the ways you could contact us. And I have plans for episodes in the future. I mean, we're gonna keep giving you good stuff. Hopefully, we won't have any more problems like we've had in the past couple of weeks. I mean, I think 3 weeks is the longest I've ever gone without doing an episode. Even when I thought the show was over, before I found you, Paul.
But after I found you.
And I think I'm gonna look it up in a second. Your anniversary with Two Strangers One Podcast is coming up on a year, if I'm not mistaken, because it was around August of last year.
Ooh, what do I get?
You get a T-shirt.
Yeah, where's my fucking T-shirt, you piece of shit? Speaking of stuff like that,
yeah,
you need to give me a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Anyways, so you can find me on Twitter at Pulpskrillo. My last name is spelled Pescrillo. You can also find me on Tumblr. It's pulpskrillo.tumblr.com. Let's see what else. And I actually have a ask.fm, which I ask people to ask me questions on days, and then I don't get any questions, and then randomly, all of a sudden, like out of the blue, I'll have like 50 questions on a day where I'm like working both jobs, and I'm like, okay.
Sorry,
So, why you gotta be doing that, interrupting my shit. So it's ask.fm/Paul Pascrillo. Ask me questions anytime. It doesn't have to be Toonami related. I am very good at answering Toonami related questions, obviously. But, like I said, you can ask me questions there. And then look for, just articles and random stuff. So there's that.
Yeah, and actually, bro, the first episode that you were on was published August 14th, so you've been on the show over a year.
Holy shit.
It's crazy, man.
God, what the fuck is wrong? I want my shirt now, damn it.
I'll get you a damn shirt.
I wear a large. And I will wear that shit proudly, too. I'll be like, yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah, actually, I should get a shirt made before we hit any cons or anything like that. Which is, I got to order the patch also. Well, okay. We certainly hope you guys enjoyed listening. And Jesus Christ, Paul, for the people who want to go on iTunes, you could go back and listen to Paul's first episode. That was episode 123. This is going to be episode 123. Oh, that's kind of funny. Let me see what episode. This is going to be episode 160. So you've been on the podcast for something 40 some odd shows. That's crazy.
That's crazy. Well, you know what? Hey, I'm just glad to be able to spread my wings and be on 2 different podcasts because it's good to talk about Toonami all the time. Don't get me wrong. I love talking about Toonami, but I like talking about other stuff too. So it's good to actually be able to spread my wings and be able to talk about other stuff. Shut up. So
we certainly hope you guys enjoyed listening and had as much fun as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. We're out.
Bye.
You've been challenged, Sketch.
You should be fapping. You're going to get destroyed, bitch.
Oh!
Like I'm 10 years old. Kamehameha may your ways and spirit guns consume my soul. They say that boy is so cold. Origami folds in the clothes for the soul he sold. It made me go cool into the clothes. Created goals that crack codes like the stones that unsold. And my cousin can't let go. And homies get let go. Hear the echo. Sayonara, the bomber. Remind them of Pearl Harbor. I harbor the pain and aura. Soul unleash the chakra. It flows. I'm being bothered. My father showed me the dark side like Luke's father. Produce knowledge. A couple bad traits. I'm being honest. Don't honor the coldest science. I had a cheat code. Reminiscing of the days of running CJ through the grove. Cheat code. R1 and R2, and then you probably just like that. Cheat code. Get a game short to get the things we never had. Cheat code. And the infinite money wouldn't be so bad.
Yo, I really want the cheat code to this life, so I can actually start winning for once and know what it's like. But I'm still living an orderly life. According to Christ, the struggle make you morally right. If you can survive it when it's low or it's hype, I got homies pushing blow like orchestra pipes. These days, how I have to survive, averaging 9-hour shifts, losing half of my mind. I want the game shark more than half of the time, but I got the Bible as my strategy guide for real. I ain't got a deal, but gotta deal with it. If I ain't dead in this game, homie, I'm still
life had a cheat code. Reminiscing of the days of running CJ through the grove. Had a cheat code. R1 and R2, and then you probably just like go. Cheat code. Get a game short to get the things we never had. Had a cheat code. And the infinite money wouldn't be so bad.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double
it?
Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne smells good to me.
But
look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled Colon.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking, are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I gotta meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea,
Yeah, it
man.
is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. I want to, and if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it, that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15 and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15's not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a fucking a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudie in it, and you could show them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne right now.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonepodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonepodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.